we are human beings. I believe you understand that, yes? So we don't live alone. We always live with a group of people. The relationships that we have, the people we associate, they have an influence in our life. So Buddha has given so many teachings about relationships, not about like relationships in the sense, not like marriage counseling, things like that. But when we are living our life, how to find happiness and how to find guidance through our relationships. So Buddha identifies different levels of associations that we have during our life. The first one is we meet ordinary people every day. Do we meet ordinary people? Like you don't have much attachment. Then we have special relationships, you know. Do you have many? I'm not asking a private question. Okay, I'm asking, there are some special people around us. But there are also a classification in Buddhism called spiritual relationships. That is the most important. What is the term for that? Kalyana Mitra. Now, the verse that I gave comes in Samyukta Nikaya, and it's called Anga Sutta. Anga means what? Elements, factors, limbs of how to become the factors of Sotapanna. Do you think attaining Sotapanna is very important? Yes, because it's the first what? Level of first achievement in our spiritual path as a Buddhist. So when Buddha is giving these factors for Sotapanna, what is the first one? If you those people who are interested in your spiritual life, if you go to a monk and ask, Bhante, I want to become a Sotapanna. So youngsters are quite interested in that. I told you, one of my friends, he came and said, Bhante, I want to become a Sotapanna as soon as possible because I'm going to get married soon. So there's a belief that even you can be a Sotapanna it's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but there's a bit of a hurry. Even if you study Dhamma, attaining Sotapanna, the stream entry level, is almost like attaining full liberation, because it's a progressive journey. It's a forward journey after that. So Buddha gives these four factors for stream entry. The first one is association with people of integrity. Kalyana Mitra. Sappurisa Sangsevo. The second one is listening to Dhamma. The third one is Yoniso Manasikara. It's called wise attention. The last one, Dhammanu Dhammapatipatya, that is practice in accordance with Dhamma. Now, do you think this is a serious statement, when you say to have people with integrity, Kalyana Mitras around you, then we have to find out how important it is, how these relationships can take us to enlightenment. Now, when you go through your life, can you go back and at this current moment, present situation, present moment, can you find anybody in your life who can be a help to your spiritual path? Honestly, there are a few people, yes, but have you understood fully what is their role? That is very important. Today I'm going to explain how a relationship, how this concept of Kalyana Mitra, a good person, a person with integrity, his role and we have to find a sequence starting from a relationship, how this relationship can take you to understanding of Dhamma. So Buddha, we have 37 factors. This is your toolbox for enlightenment. You have 37 tools, instruments, if you want to get enlightened. But going into these practices, going directly into 37 factors of enlightenment is impossible. There are certain preliminaries that you have to fulfill. Can you remember Venerable Ananda saying, friendship is half of the holy life? Yes, then what did Buddha say? No, Ananda, it is the whole of holy life. There's this sutta coming in Anguttara Nikaya, the set of nines. The first sutta is called Sambodhi Pakya Sutta. Sambodhi Pakya means then again, the factors are the factors that is in favor of enlightenment. Buddha says, if somebody from another sect, a wanderer, asks you what is the first factor necessary for enlightenment, he says it's the association of wise kalyana mittas. Then again, Buddha gives in another situation, if the dawn is the sign of daylight, good friendship is the sign of enlightenment. So it's very important. Our relationships are very important. So we need to have a support group. We need to find these kalyana mittas in our life. Because we take granted, our relationships get granted. When we were young, even in Sri Lanka, we heard what is a kalyana mitta through Singalovada Sutta. You keep other person's secrets. I didn't know what a friendship was. I thought, helping my friends with their love affairs, going to... That's also friendship, isn't it? When we are young, it's so interesting to help with somebody with their relationships. That's cool. We support with that, and you go to the movies, and you do all sorts of things with friends. But even with that, you get the Singalovada Sutta. That's what we get to learn at Dhamma school. You help when you be with your friend when in their ups and downs. You keep their secrets. You support them. There are 7 things. But the Singalovada Sutta was given to a householder. When it comes to a spiritual person, it's a bit more serious. So now we need to understand how a relationship, how a spiritual friend can give you good advice that leads to enlightenment. Can you please explain what is avidya? What is ignorance? Ignorance. I'm not talking about everyday ignorance that you don't know about David Bowie, things like that. I'm asking you in Buddhist terms. That is our problem. We are in ignorance. Not knowing the Four Noble Truths. Okay, I would like to emphasize on the factor that having a spiritual friend, having spiritual companionship is an important thing. For example, do you know Meghiya? Yes, Venerable Meghiya was one of the 7 attendants before Venerable Ananda came in as a permanent attendant before the 20th Vasa. When he went into meditation, when Buddha said, Meghiya, don't leave me, he left Lord Buddha to meditate alone, but didn't work out for him. He came back and said, Bhante, my meditation didn't go well. What is the first advice that Buddha gave in Meghiya Sutta? Meghiya, you need to have kalyana mittas. Buddha's own son, not Buddha's own son, Venerable, Prince Siddhartha's son, who ultimately became Buddha's son, Venerable Rahula. Even father being Buddha, he couldn't get enlightened until the age of 20. So during the 13th Vasa, 12th Vasa, Buddha and Venerable Sariputta gave a set of teachings. So he went into meditation during the 13th Vasa, and on the 14th Vasa, Buddha, through his eye of clairvoyance, he saw, now my sons, Indriya Dhammas have matured. Now what are Indriya Dhammas? It is also five Indriyas. It belongs to the 37 factors of enlightenment. There are 5. It is said in Dhamma, to get enlightened you need to have paramis. You have to fulfill perfections. Then you need to have matured Indriya Dhammas. So in simple terms, Indriya Dhammas are, what is the first one? Shraddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. Now in English, faith, confidence, effort, energy, mindfulness, good concentration, and wisdom. These 5 things should be matured in a person to get realized. Now what is the advice that is given in Dhamma, how to get these 5 things matured in you? Okay, for example, how to develop faith, confidence. So the advice is avoid people who has no saddha. Associate individuals with shraddha. Read, listen, think, things that will increase saddha. Out of these 3, 2 involve with a association. 2 involve with a relationship. Virya, energy. How to develop? What is the advice that comes in Dhamma? Avoid lazy people. Associate energetic people. Cultivate 4 right efforts. It's called 4 samapadanas. To cultivate mindfulness. What do you think the first one is? Avoid people who has no mindfulness. Associate people who practice mindfulness. And cultivate 4 foundations of mindfulness. When it comes to concentration, associate people with concentration. Avoid the people. Now these things seems quite simple, isn't it? Associate somebody who has that. Try to avoid somebody who doesn't have that. And see what you can do in yourself. But let me ask you now, do you have a set of people like that? People, you come and sit here every day and say, nothing is working out for you spiritually. Because we don't look at these preliminaries. We don't take these things serious. If you say, okay, let's go for a party, everybody is there. Then coming here, nothing is working out. Because you need to have... I'm talking for the dead serious, who are really inclined into spirituality, who needs results out of Buddha's words. Very difficult nowadays. I sometimes go for these houses and I talk about 5 precepts. The last precepts involves with not intoxicating yourself. Yes. So one day I went to this house and I was giving a very serious talk why you should not be drinking this and that. And the little son goes and opens his father's mini bar. See Bhante, we have a lot of things that you talked about. So I asked this gentleman, now what's happening here? So I feel very bad, So he is supposed to be not drinking. He said, Bhante, no, this is not for me. This is for my friends who come here and socialize with me. Do you think that's also right? No, that's also right. Some people say, Bhante, I drink a little bit, but I never lose my consciousness. I never lose my stage. If it is too much, I go and sleep. Why you are too much and going sleep? That is also wasting time, no? So it's not going to work out like that. So you need to, when Dhamma is giving advice, my idea is to give you a teaching, and from today onwards, maybe you need to look deeply about your relationships. It's okay to have coffee mornings and coffee table discussions, but majority in your life should be a support group who helps you in your spiritual path. To avoid cultivating wisdom, there's a perfection also called prajna paramita. You have to perfect your wisdom. How can you cultivate that? Avoid foolish people. Avoid people who has wisdom, and you do your meditation. Study about aggregates, elements, and paticca-samuppada, conditional relations. So even in manuals like Visuddhimagga, great meditation books, having there are words like sappaya puggala, associating people who are conducive with your practice, who are supporting your practice. Those things come as a great preliminary. Okay, now I asked, what is avijja? I'm going to establish a sequence. I'm going to establish a link starting from ignorance, because avijja paccaya sankhara, this is not, I'm not going to talk about paticca I'm going to talk about, now we have to start from ignorance. At one point we are ignorant, at the other end there's a relationship. Okay, I'm trying to establish a sequence. Kalyana Mitra, this particular term is repeated in 75 sutras in Tipitaka. How many sutras? That's a big amount, yes. Even the Majjhima Nikaya, the first book, has only 50 sutras. There is a chapter called Sotapanna Sangyukta in Sangyukta Nikaya. This Kalyana Mitra, the factors for Sotapanna, repeats again and again and again and again. So it's very important. So we know now what is avijja. We don't know. We have not fully realized the Four Noble Truths. What do you think? What cultivates the Four Noble? What cultivates ignorance? I'm not asking why ignorance is there. Everybody would say craving. Yes? Huh? I'm not asking that. I'm not asking the reason, but I'm asking, do you know, if you are ignorant, what cultivates it? This is the reverse order. You have to know, because everything is put in negative form. I think in Christianity also, Latin, they say panatipata veramani sik, thou shall not kill. Okay, if you are not going to kill, what are you supposed to do? Okay, you don't do anything, because nothing to do. You don't do, you stay like a scarecrow, everything will happen to you. No, it doesn't happen like that. You need to find out, if Buddha is giving, don't do this, what are we supposed to do? Okay, now please tell me, what cultivates our ignorance? Okay, I know it's very difficult to come up with one particular thing. Nowadays, everything in our life cultivates ignorance, but particularly in Buddhism, the 5 hindrances. It's called Nivarana. Nivarana in Pali means it covers Nibbana. It hides enlightenment. So the 5 Nivaranas cultivate ignorance. How does 5 Nivaranas come to be? What cultivates 5 Nivaranas? How many Nivaranas, how many hindrances are there now? I'm sorry, today is a Dhamma talk, okay? So, 5 hindrances. What is the first one? Sensual pleasures. Second one? Aversion, hatred. The third one? Sloth and torpor. What does sloth and torpor means? Laziness of your body and mind. And what is the fourth one?
Doubt is the last one.
Last one is doubt. Restlessness and agitation. Okay, these are 5 things you have to study in a deeper level to understand how these things will cover your spiritual path to realization. So how does these 5 things cultivate? Sorry? No. Ignorance now, we have part. Yeah, that is like a cycle, you say this covers this, that covers this. Ignorance will scratch 5 hindrances back, and the 5 hindrances will scratch ignorances back. No, not like that. Now we have to come up with definite terms. Please understand 3 types of misconducts. After going through 75 sutras, I have summarized this. Okay, so please understand, this is the sequence that we need to understand. How does 5 hindrances come to be? Through 3 types of misconducts. What are these 3 misconducts? No, misconducts means what? You conduct, your personal behavior. How can we fault ourselves? Through speech. We call this verbal misconduct. And body action, yes, bodily misconduct, and mind. Yes, through precepts, you control 2 of these things. The verbal and the physical misconduct can be controlled. To control your mind, you have to do meditation. Now please tell me how these 3 types of misconducts, what are the cultivating factors for those things? Why you as a human being, why you do these things? Now we are trying to find out reasons for all wrong things that we do.
Belief in the idea, the person.
Yeah, yeah, that is like the umbrella for everything, maybe the wrong view. When you are, let's say, when you are lying, when you are swearing, when you are gossiping, when you are using backbiting words, what is not there with you? Okay, very difficult, yes? Okay. Something coming out of your mind, you don't like, you lie, you have no control. What is this mouth thing? Sensual restrainment. We call it Indriya Samvara. Now please understand, Avijja comes to be, ignorance is there, ignorance is the Four Noble Truths. You don't know the Four Noble Truths. But Four Noble Truths doesn't come into realization because of five hindrances are there. Because we are cultivating all the time five hindrances. Whatever that is hindering our path, we cultivate that not knowingly. When it comes to five hindrances, what are the things, why five hindrances come to be? Because of three types of misconduct: the verbal, physical and mental. Now we know that the three types of these misconducts come through not having sensual restraint, because we don't have Indriya Samvara. Now please tell me, why don't we have Indriya Samvara? Well, I'm reversing the order now. We need to find out how many doctors in the house today. So if you find a disease, you send the blood, urine, feces, hair, whatever the thing that you can collect, and in a reverse order we need to find the root and cause of things. You don't sit down and think like this. Even if you think, you will not have the insights into the Tipitaka to go through 75 sutras and summarize. So I am doing that for you. Yeah? So please take this, if you have a plan, as I always say, what was my first, this one, the operation, liberation. These are the things, this is giving out a map. So now we have the sensual pleasures. Whatever we see, whatever we hear, whatever we put out of our mouths, whatever the behavior we that have, now it all happens because we are not sensually restrained. Now, to not to have sensual restrainment, what is the thing that? What is the reason behind that? Desire is also one of those umbrella common terms that we can use. I'm not saying you're wrong, but we are trying to find out a particular definite word for 100% that we are sure because of this comes to be. Okay, let's use the word asati asampa janya, but you know the word sati sampajanya. What is sati sampajanya? Clear comprehension. Can you clearly comprehend your daily activities? Not fully, I know certain things you can comprehend, but for example, you take a beer. Okay? Can you clearly comprehend that? If I drink this will happen to me. This typical case going in Sri Lanka now. Do you know the Ambilipitia case? Yes? This policeman has thrown a guy from the second floor and he's fallen down, and the whole country is talking about the police is wrong. And some people are talking the man is wrong. But nobody is talking about that alcohol is wrong because he was drunk. It's like that. So clear, when you don't have clear comprehension, it is a factor that you cultivate. You will have no sensual restrainment. Now please tell me how this unclear comprehension come to be. Another term. Yes, there is a line of terms. Bhante is coming with he reads some book and come with terms and put us in trouble, and he calls it a Dhamma talk. Okay. No, please understand, these are very important. Go with these things. You need to plan out your spiritual path, and these are guidelines. To be honest, if you read the whole Tripitaka, the problem with the Theravada tradition is there's a lot of theory. All theory is there. And to find certain practical aspects of it, you need to go to places like maybe Tibet, they take the mind to practice very well. So to practice, I'm not saying the practice is not there, the 4 foundations of mindfulness, everything is here. If somebody says this, that, I'm saying, the Tibetan Buddhism is good. There's nothing like that. But a lot of theory, less practical aspects. We don't know how to put this theory into practice. So how does no comprehension, wrong comprehension come to be? When you don't have wise attention. What is the word for wise attention? Yoniso manasikara. Now when we take this Pali word manasikara, the dictionary explanation is thinking. Manasikara is to think. Do you wisely think? Do you have wise thinking patterns in your life? Not every time, I can say if half of you are married, then that's a good sign of not having wise attention 20-25 years ago. Yes. So don't take me wrong. Getting married doesn't mean, Siddhartha Gautama, even after eons and eons of paramis, he did the same mistake, But he learned a lesson out of it. At the age of 29, he was lucky he escaped. So I was also 28 plus at the verge of getting married. Not because of that I wanted to, because of my parents. Sometimes parents love you too much, they put you into trouble. They want their children to go through the same troubles that they have gone through. Isn't it? But still, you laugh. You have children. Will you encourage your children not to marry? No. Son, daughter, the lifestyle is like this, society is like this. You need to get married to all these doctors, lawyers, and you have to bring another being into this world. You inherit all the suffering, Yes, that's why you ask your children to also bring another offspring who can go through cancer, HIV, tuberculosis, every trouble in the world called BA, MA, BAc, MA, PhD, all this trouble. Yes, but hardly any parent would say, okay, son, why don't you, after your VCE, you do a retreat in Thailand. You go to Sri Lanka and spend some time to see whether the university is right for you. Why don't you search something spiritual? There's no income in it, but you will get 2 meals a day. You will not talk like this. You always push your offspring, your loved ones, into trouble. So it's very important. I heard, this is a speculation in Dhamma, that Buddha's best friend, whose best friend when he was Siddhartha? Channa. No, they were born on the same day. Channa apparently said, Siddhartha, my friend, why are you in search of the truth? Why do you want to leave the palace? I advise you remain in the palace and help these people, irrigate the lands, cultivate, use your wealth in a good way that you can serve people. Then Siddhartha apparently have told Channa, if I can irrigate the land, I can use my kingdom, all my royal powers to help people. But if I go out, if I find the thing called truth, it will be beneficial to all mankind, not only Kapilavastu, not only India. So he went out, he found the truth, it has helped the 3 worlds, man, Devas, Brahmas, the whole universe. But if he followed the Channa's word, now after 2600 years, archaeology still cannot find where Kapilavastu is. Do you think we will find a king called Siddhartha? No. So even as a universal monarch, how many universal monarchs do you know by their name? You don't know. Can you tell me who was before Queen Victoria? We don't even know the monarchies, the famous monarchies. Everybody knows Princess Diana, yes, and during our time, our generation, Princess Diana and Dodi. At school, when in my secondary school, my friends used to call me Dodi, because I didn't have a relationship with Diana, but maybe I looked like Dodi a little bit. So anyway, so we have see, this is not wise attention. You drift. You drift to Kapilavastu, Princess Diana, Victoria. Out of your Dhamma talk also you will have no wise attention. How does wise attention come to be? Non-wise attention. Ayoniso manasikara. Lack of faith. Okay, now very important, this faith is explained again and again and again and again in Dhamma, because this faith is, the simile given to faith is like this universal monarchs has a gem. What is the name of that gem? I can't remember in Pali. No, not Chudamani. Chudamani is in top of those stupas, no? No, this is something valuable than that. It is said when the monarch drops that into unclear water, even to a pond, the whole water gets cleared. Like that, this Shraddha, the faith, confidence in Dhamma, will clear out all your doubts, will clear out the path for you. So, when you don't have when you don't have faith, confidence, all the things that we below explained before comes to be. Now, to have good Shraddha in you, how do you cultivate your faith in Buddhism? Am I giving you faith now?
Practice, then you realize.
You practice, then you experience something, then you are confident about it. That's one way. But who encourages you to practice? Kalyana Mitras. Yes, you are right. If somebody is not encouraging you, you go and see His Holiness the Dalai Lama. He doesn't have to open his mouth sometimes, His presence itself is, giving enormous feeling, the compassion. Then you come home and you sit down and think, I should be a compassionate person. You see a great monk who's, why we talk about Ajahn Chah? His lifestyle, his life, why we talk about Lord Buddha himself? Because it has given, through example, through living a life like that, given so much of inspiration. So Kalyana Mitra gives you faith and inspiration and guidance to practice. Now, please, in your life, now time to reflect. How many friends are like there? Is your husband a person like that? Sometimes, no? What are the times? Like when he wants to go on holiday, maybe darling, you can go on a retreat, like that. I will go fishing, you go to the temple, like that. And are your relatives like that? Are your schoolmates like that? At least the people who meet you in BSV, are they like that? Yes, when you are eating, I see sometimes, they are like that. No, we need to have, do we have a support group like this? Do we have a set of friends? You always think a monk is a Kalyana Mitra. Of course, when a monk sits down, they give you advice, they give Dhamma. But you only meet monks how many times a month? If you come every 4 Sundays, those who are coming to BSV only, they will meet them 4 times a week. Those who go to all other 7 temples, 8, 9 temples, they will meet, still, you don't spend, you don't much frequent spiritual places. So we need to have friends. That's why Kalyana Mitra, the concept is very important. So now, not to have Shraddha is because you lack people who inspire you, who gives advice, who shows the path. So you need to find out whether we have people like that. It's very important. So now we need to reverse the order and see sequence. When you have a Kalyana Mitra, what will happen to you? You will listen, good words, truth. What is the truth? What do you call the truth? The Dhamma. When you listen Dhamma right, like now, what will happen to you? You will have faith. When you have faith, what will happen to you? Through faith, you are cautious. I'm waking you up, no? To some extent. Am I waking you up? Yes. So you think about these things. When you sit down with your friends, when you take the whiskey glass, the beer glass, whatever the wine glass, you might think, no? If you remember me, are we doing right? How many? Like that. So I'm waking you up in a way. So through waking up, what comes to be? The wise attention. You pay wisely what you are doing right now, through relationships, through associations, through your friends, in your family. Through wise attention, what comes to be? Clear comprehension. You have to have good comprehension, come fully understand, and not just, groping in the darkness whether I am doing this right. Like this. Sometimes you think, we are very, we like to say, even a lot of people come and say the meditation is not going good. But have you thoroughly studied your preliminaries? Are you keeping to your virtues? Are you maintaining your sensual restrainment? So there are a lot of preliminaries like that before you go into practice. Some people, they don't have that foundation, but they start building the house, but the foundation is very weak, or foundation is not there. On the halfway there, when the burden is too much, the whole spiritual life collapses. Then whole life, 45, 50, 60, even after retirement, we all are still preparing. All our lives, no achievement. You can ask the old mom, and in Sri Lanka, you sit down, we call them Achyamma, no? Grandma. So, oh Bhante, all my life I have gone to the temple and I have kept my poor days. I have done. I have kept my virtues. Okay, I know how you have done that, because I have seen, because I live in a temple. All my life I have been giving dana. All of my life I have released cows, fish, crabs, birds. Okay, any achievements? Oh no achievements. Are you afraid of death? That's the biggest problem right now. Because preparation, all our lives, we prepare. That also we don't prepare properly, because we don't know each of these words, how we should be doing this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, just you go to a temple, you hear some Dhamma. Okay, that's there. Then you go to another monk, you listen. Okay, that's it. Never go home and you cross-reference, write these things down. How this you can employ these things into your daily life. Okay, friends are very important. We cannot live alone. Even if you isolate yourself. There was a monk like that in Buddha's time. He said he didn't like friends. So when Buddha came to the monastery, Buddha particularly asked, where's this monk? Then the other monks tell, no, he doesn't like associations. He's ekachara. He likes to live alone. Then he asked this monk to come and ask, how do you explain your solitude? Then say, no, I don't want friends. I eat alone, I keep my robes alone, I read alone. I never wanted association. The Buddha says that's not true solitude. Okay? So what is true solitude? That you don't go into the future. You're not worried about the past. Living in this present moment is the right kind of solitude a person can have. But not having any relationship, disconnecting with people will not bring that spiritual achievement. So that's why the problem with us, we have a lot of relationships. Facebook, how many friends? You have a lot of friends, and there are jokes about it. A couple comes to a funeral and said, oh my God, only handful of people, but Facebook 5,000 friends, none of them have come here. Too sad. The relationships, our associations are very important. Somebody needs to ring you and ask, have you done your meditation? Do you have any problems? There's a good monk coming to Melbourne. Why don't we go on this retreat? Do you have any problems? If you can I harbor your dogs, pets, children while you are in retreat? These are spiritual support that you can give a person. But it doesn't happen within a Buddhist community nowadays. We only can complain Dhamma is not effective. But to Dhamma to be effective, we are not practicing them according to the guidance. Now, if somebody says, okay, don't associate the fool. Very difficult to find people like that. Every other person is a bit foolish, including ourselves. So, how can you find a friend who's always mindful? You cannot. But you need to have that. At least during this time of your life, when you're making a shift, you're taking that stance on your life that, okay, I need to look at spirituality. You need to have that yoga group with you, your Pilate group, and be spiritual, to go on that special pilgrimage. To sit down and do nothing. Yeah? Not to sit down and talk about a recipe and cook cakes and gâteaux and eat and go to sleep. That is also very important. When it comes to a recipe, you know how much salt you have to put, you know how much sugar you have to put, then you know how you bake it. But when it comes to spirituality, you don't identify ingredients properly. You don't know what salt is, you don't know what sugar is, then you don't know how to bake the cake also. Baking the cake is like practicing, no? But that also you don't know. That's why I'm not here to point out you are wrong, you are wrong, you are wrong, I am right, I am right, I am right. No, not that. But sit down and clearly, my address, my communication, my dialogue always go to that special spiritual person. Every day come here and still as a human being you should see progress. Buddha always say, in my Dhamma there's gradual training, gradual progress, gradual practice, gradual progress. I remember this as TPP, not TVP. Okay, TVP soya meat. TPP. TPP, gradual training, practice and progress. He never said, you like this. There's direct realization. There are techniques to do that. But in our gradual path, we need to grow spiritually gradually. Now in this time of your life, you need to see what elements in your life has progressed. If you cannot see it has progressed, then there's something missing in your life. At least those people who come here, it's a human nature, very difficult, At least you have not made a commitment to keep the 5 precepts completely. Buddha says if you have this alone, if you have kept 5 precepts, it's another preparation, but still at the end of your life there's something that you can be happy about, isn't it? So please take these things into understanding. So how, through clear comprehension, what comes next? When you understand thoroughly, when you clearly comprehend something, you are careful. Now how we are going to be careful? Just taking the reverse. Wise thinking was before the wise attention. Now clear comprehension is wise thinking. When you think wisely, are you not restrained? Are you not careful about the things you say, the things you do, how you behave? Yes? So restrainment comes automatically when you are attentive. To be a gentleman, to be a lady, you have to have some restrainment, isn't it? So you are very careful the way you dress, the way you, like the queen, keeping hands like this, yes. Yes, yeah. That's a royal, I'm not saying I'm not a monarchist, okay? But that through these gestures, well restrained, through clear comprehension, she doesn't go like, Spice Girls and, dance around. Okay. Now sensual restrainment, what will that bring? Yes, I'm repeating the same thing. You need to, this is, you don't have to have wisdom to understand this. Yes, the 3 right conducts. Okay? When you are restrained, you will never utter a lie. You will never put a wrong word out. Or you will not do any physical wrongdoings. And you try your best through mind-wise attention to keep your mentality clear also. Okay, now through wise, when you have this 3-fold right conduct, what are you cultivating there? When you say you are aware of your bodily action, what are you mindful of? If you are mindful of your body, what is the word for that? If you are mindful of your body, that's kaya, no? Mindfulness of body is what? Kayanu Passana. So automatically you are developing here the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Yes, you are cultivating 4 foundations of mindfulness. There is a saying in Pali, Anapana sati bhikkave bhavita bahulikata chattaro satipattana paripurenti. Chattaro satipattana bhavita bahulikata සත්ත බොජ්ජංගේ පරිපූර්ණති. සත්ත බොජ්ජංගේ භාවිතා බහුලී කතා විජ්ජා විමුක්ති පරිපූර්ණති. This is the sequence. It starts with Anapanasati, but we are not going to talk about Anapanasati because we didn't start from Anapanasati. When somebody is cultivating the 4 foundations of mindfulness, it will ultimately give the result of 7 factors of enlightenment. Now please understand, now these are 37 factors. This is our toolbox. Okay? This is our toolbox. Now out of these 37, you have to, whatever you practice, you will bypass the bojjhangas. Okay? How many times? Now these are repetition of the same thing. Effort, virya, how many times repeated? 9 times. Out of this 37, effort, virya has been repeated for 9 times. Like that, Shraddha, faith, confidence has repeated for 2 times. Virya 9 times. Mindfulness 5 times. Samadhi 4 times. Panya 3 times. Okay? So you need to sit down and count. So you can reduce this. So you will come to a point through your practice that through 4 foundations of mindfulness, you will come to a level that you have cultivated the 7 bojjhangas, the 7 factors. One of the factors out of 37, you have come to bojjhangas. Through cultivating bojjhangas, forget about that 7, let's say through cultivating these 37, what comes to be? What is the result of using these 37? Sorry? Enlightenment. Yes, this is the enlightenment. So now do you understand how if Buddhism is all about mind transformation? Yeah, Buddhism is about mind transformation. Buddhism works with mind. So for this mind transformation for an ignorant, ordinary person, through an association of a wise, attentive, good, noble person, how your mind transformation should happen to the level of enlightenment. Yes, you need to have that person with you. You need to have a monk, a husband, a child, a nephew, an auntie, uncle, or somebody, or group of people like that who will always support you to acquire, to achieve this mind transformation. When I was ordained a young, I'm still young ordained monk, I believe I am young. Okay, so at the monastery, even after ordination, I used to spend my evenings. So sometimes I used to sing, It's a beautiful place in park, and you can see the horizon, and you can see from the border, you can see Thailand. And, I just, sometimes when I don't have old songs come to me, I forget that I'm a monk because I'm not trained. So my senior monk, he just clears his throat like that. Then I think, is there something wrong with him, or Then I ask, Bhante, why you, every time I'm singing, why you clear your throat? They say, fool, you're not supposed to sing as a monk. That's friendship. You remind, you are not supposed to do this. Wise attention, clear comprehension. You do something wrong, you point that out. Whether he likes it or not, you wake him up, what you are doing is wrong. So do we have friends like that? So no. So today's Dhamma talk, after going through commentaries and 75 sutras, including the Sotapanna Samyukta and this starting verse from as Anga Sutta, the first factor to achieve the first milestone in our spiritual path, Sotapanna, the first one is to have Sappurisa, people with integrity. So that is a serious ingredient in this recipe. It is a must-have ingredient in this recipe. So we need to find out how this ingredient helps in the outcome. So we found out that not having just a relationship, a friend or somebody like that how this friend should be behaving in a way, how your relationships have these sequence, these steps towards the path of liberation. So the advice comes, the motto, the summary comes, you have to take your spiritual relationships seriously. Not getting into some a place and you're just eating together, people bring food together and eat and go back. You don't have to come to a temple to do that. You cook somebody and ask, we went to a dana one day, and with all the monks. In that house, I believe none of the dishes were made by the dana people. Everybody brought all. So one monk was asking, I don't think they give a dana because they have asked all the people who are coming here to bring food. Like that. So we're collecting, bringing food and just sitting, it's not called spirituality. Try to think beyond that, how you can be of help to another person to give happiness, to give liberation, to like a mother forcing a child always, don't watch TV, go and study. I remember my mother in a good way, stop watching TV. You are watching TV too much. Go and study. She even brings me a good coffee at around 10 o'clock in the evening. She thinks like coffee keeps you awake. She puts a nice dose of milk powder into it, and the moment I drink it, I'm down. I switch my lights and go to sleep, So like that. So that's the talk. Any questions about finding a relationship other than through Facebook or a marriage? In spiritual life, how to find that perfect soulmate? Try divorcing and getting married to a spiritual being. Any questions? We have 5 minutes more.
I'm a bit curious about your example of singing.
Yes.
Singing is, some people have gifts of singing.
Yes.
So would you be able to just explain that a bit more?
Now I'm talking from the perspective of a monastic, where even I have the talent of singing, because Buddha has clearly given a precept for a monk not to sing, because you can, even with that, even if I don't put the song out, the song is within me, I can just hum it, but still that kind of a restrainment is necessary for your spiritual path. A monastic life, we called it Anyo Me Akapo. We are trying to let go of the habits and traits that we had as a lay person. So you are not going to bring all of that into your monastic life and keep doing the same thing. Without singing, doing singing, you try to change your behavior for good. So to have mindfulness, somebody can even argue, if you keep attention to the song, some people have that ability to keep like notes through hearing, things like that. Don't you cultivate mindfulness? But it will not develop the thing called Samma Samadhi, Samma Sati. It's not the right mindfulness. We are trying to establish right mindfulness to find liberation. So per se, it's not a big mistake that you sing a song, but why you have to do that? Then if somebody I start singing, the others monk might start banging onto the door, and we will have a nice party, So so it's not going to happen in a monastic environment. I do listen to music, to be honest, but on an iPod that nobody can hear. If somebody asks, I listen to music. No, I'm listening to Dhamma. Okay? Okay. Yes. So otherwise, it's not a problem, but you have to see what's the purpose of doing this again and again. Okay? So I hope this, yeah?
Discipline.
Discipline. Yes, discipline is very important. You leave everything at home and TVs, televisions, and you come to a forest monastery to listen, sing. It's not good. But you can join Hare Krishna. They sing all the time. Yeah? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
For the benefit of all, is
Yeah.
it possible to outline the 7 labels?
7 labels?
Yeah.
7 Bojjhangas.
Yes.
Yeah. The seven, now out of these 37 factors of enlightenment, there is a group of 7 called the 7 Bojjhanga, 7 factors of enlightenment. They are Sati Sambojjhanga, Piti Sambojjhanga, Dhamma Vijaya Bojjhanga, and Virya Sambojjhanga. like that, can do 7 sambojjhanga. These 7 are if you have heard when somebody is sick, the Bojjhanga Sutta, this gets repeated. You know, when in a Buddhist environment, if somebody falls sick, a monk will come and recite 3 types of suttas: the Bojjhanga, Kassapa Thera Bojjhanga, Moggallana Thera Bojjhanga, Chunda Thera Bojjhanga. Buddha comes and recite the enlightenment factors to that monk. There's a meaning behind that. There's a different. That's a big Dhamma talk. How through these factors of Bojjhanga, how you cultivate the 5 Indriya Dhammas. That's I don't have time for that. But when you are sick, people, monks do come and chant this for you, but they forget that Buddha chanted this to an already enlightened monk. They expect all your problems to go away through chanting, but Buddha never chanted this to an ordinary person. He gave this chanting to a already enlightened being who has practiced, just not uttering, listen to this and your troubles will go away. Even an enlightened monk, when you are chanting this, he knows how to go into that level and, to practice Bojjhanga, and your pains and aches will go away. Any other question? This is your toolbox. To practice this, you have to fulfill your preliminaries like virtues, sensual restrainment, dana, sila, bhavana, sila, samadhi, prajna. Then you can, your practice you need to, whatever that you do, you have to find out how you come to this place, and through this place how you come to realization. Any other question? Yes, sir.
But what about monks with handphones or is that, because I know like some people, lay people, live very far away, at least they can call.
Yeah, sure.
So where's the line actually? Because obviously handphones are not made.
Line. Even Buddha cannot put a line and say, okay, I'm drawing the line here. Buddha gives you the option to yourself. Are you being honest to yourself? You don't have to have a cell phone. Sometimes the robe you are wearing can be a trouble to your spiritual path. I had so many robes. The moment I got ordained, everybody offered me a robe. By the time I come to the kuti, half of the kuti was full with robes. Now I was thinking, oh my God, this is like my wardrobe at home. Then another monk was given the opportunity to be the store monk. He goes, and he was a practicing monk. He will say, okay, you be the store monk from today. He goes to the store and come back and to his master and say, Bhante, that's almost like the Woolworths. I cannot work at the store. Then the master explains, things can be there, but you don't have to get attached to them. It's not yours. You open the door and you see all the stuff there, and why do you think that those belongs to you? You kept all that burden in your head and you are now coming and complaining, I cannot work there. So wrong attachment. Yes, Buddha never said these problems. It's on the phone. You cannot let go of a phone and still, I know there are a lot of monks who doesn't have an iPhone, but all they think about getting one. While there might be another monk who finds the iPhone troublesome and still he doesn't want to give, because if he gives away, he cannot carry on with the work that he's doing. Yeah, I have thought about so many times getting not a smartphone, just a Nokia old phone where I can receive, and I've tried so many times, try to adjust my spiritual life like that. But then when I don't have the smartphone, my mom calls and say, Bhante, I have sent a very important email. You check that. Now to check in Myanmar for email, I have to walk 2.5 miles to go and check email. So it's better to have a phone with everything. So in that way, it depends on how honest you are in your spiritual practice. If you find it a hindrance, if you see an attachment there, drop it. Like Ajahn done. The last time also I quoted from him. When he's eating, he said, if I take and for one chew, if one moment, if I find taste, if I get attachment, he will stop eating that. Good practice. Okay, halfway through the pizza, when you eat that piece of salami, oh, so nice. Where's the other piece? What we do is we want more. But the moment that thought comes to your mind, no, I'm not going to eat. Very important to practice like that, if you're honest to yourself. Otherwise, for the person who practiced, there's another monk who went to a kuti in Sri Lanka. The moment he went inside this kuti, the hut, he has thrown everything away. Beds, the mosquito nets, the kettle, and shown the whole world, I don't want this. I don't want to live in a place like this. It shows his attachment. Yet another highly enlightened monk comes, he just keeps away the things that he doesn't want. Fold the extra bed sheets, if there are 2 kettles, and he uses whatever the thing that they have, and he happily leaves after that. The moment you think it's going to be a burden to you, you keep everything on your head and you complain. Buddha never says, the problem is nete kamayani chitrani loke tameva. I can't remember that our attachments are not in the material world. Tameva, I can't remember this Pali word, it has given me so much inspiration. Our attachments, our fantasies, our fancies are all inside our mind. Yes, so getting rid of this is actually the Hindu religion. They believe if you throw away material things, you can find liberation. Buddha added something. Passapachya vedana. Through contact comes feeling. Through feeling comes attachment. This passapachya vedana, through contact comes feelings, was never there before Buddha. In the Hindu religion, there was no attention given to this aspect of sensations. Through sensations you come to attachment. So we have to look at that vedana with it, to focus on that sensation and find out it is not the object who's giving me. Yeah, I have given this story many times that a lady came to me and said, Bhante, my husband is attached to this dog called Bella. The dog's name is Bella, and you need to tell him, because now she is jealous that the husband is more attached to a dog. So imagine all these monks have to deal with these problems. I said, madam, I can ask your husband to take the dog away, but don't you think he's going to fall in love every dog after that in the street? Don't you think it's going to be a problem? That he starts running some dog charity after that? Yes, Bhante, yes, that's also a problem, So I told, no, having a dog is okay, but it's not the dog, or it's not the wife. Our problem is, our greatest attachment is to our self. When you don't have that, every other attachment is very minor. When you don't have that self-view, when you are not attached to your body, all other attachments, you can, either it's low, either you can let go. It's all very mental defilements remaining, like anger, lust, like that from Samyojanas. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much for listening.